Hello and welcome to another meticulous review. Today we'll be reviewing the Aodin. Now normally people just unbox these things, you know, look at them. I'm like, okay, let's not unbox it. Let's just open it up and get into it. Okay, so here we go. Here it is. Here's the device. It's an Aodin. Of course, I might be saying that wrong. That's okay. It's an Aodin, Aodin. Alright, and so let's look on this thing. It's got a LAN port, the HDMI port, the USB port, and an optical out, and of course there's the power. And on the side it's got two more USBs, a micro SD slot, and of course your audio video out in case that you need them. Alright, so it comes with a nifty little manual. It is kind of in color, it does have some colored pictures in it, which is kind of unusual for these things, but hey, it works. It's straight to the point. It does come with a USB cord and some audio video cables just in case you need them. All of that works great and fine and dandy. It also comes with the remote. Here it is. It's of course a infrared remote, so it does take a little bit to get used to, but it works. I mean, you can sit there and start playing right out of the box, and after a little bit of working with it and everything, it works fine. Alright, so I do want to mention I did like the box. It looks really cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug this thing up and see if we can't get some 4K video playing. Okay, and here we are, starting up the machine, the Aodin. Now it shouldn't take that long. It usually takes maybe between 15 and 30 seconds for the device to fully come on, which is about normal for these devices. So it's pretty quick. And as I said, about 15 to 30 seconds. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. As you notice, I am going to be using the remote for a little bit, just to show you that it is working fairly well. I do have a USB plugged into it right now. That's why ES File Explorer is popping up, and ES File Explorer is, of course, the best file explorer application for Android. So, let's just go ahead and cancel that. I actually did this whole video and realized that my TV was way too bright, and I don't know if you can tell, but I have the brightness on almost 0. I have it on 0 and I have contrast on 0, so it's really dark. So I'm hoping you're able to actually see the screen, whereas before it was just so bright it just looked like so let's hope you can see the screen. Alright, so real quick, navigation with this thing is fairly simple. As you can see, it's very quick responsive, works really well. So you don't have to get a wireless mouse or anything to begin with. I would recommend that you get one because it's so much easier. But I mean, if you just want to pop it in and play some videos, this will be fine for a while. I am using a wireless mouse. It is one that plugs in, so it's a 2.4 gigahertz. So it does have a little dongle that comes with it. I like this one personally just because it's got a really big keyboard, so it's really fast to put in a username, password, and everything for like Google Play Store and type in everything. It does have like a little mouse right here that shows up on the screen, so that's really nice. I like the Air mouse remotes though when I'm actually trying to play videos and stuff. I feel like those are a lot faster, but this is great for setup. So yeah, it has the thing. I find that I use this actually more because they have such a nice interface here. Nice little UI. It's really big. It's really easy to understand. It's really easy to find things, to go to apps, and apps are all there and everything. So it's pretty. They've done a great layout. So if you are using this, you can navigate fairly quickly. It's just really hard to do on username and passwords and everything. Okay, so I have done a couple benchmarks. I'm just going to show them to you real quick that I have done them, and that's what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and alright, and on Antutu, of course I'm probably not saying that right, but it's 34,935. So it's fairly good. It's not like the greatest, but you're not getting this for playing like video games and stuff, let's be honest. You're getting this for playing videos, 4K videos, and it does that. So this just lets us know that you know, it's a pretty average device. It's not like anything stellar as far as like you know, doing game playback and stuff like that. It will play games. I mean, don't get me wrong. It will play a lot of games. It just won't play the really high-end, you know, high-definition games. But you know, if you're wanting one of those types of devices, you're probably going to be paying about $100. So just expect it. Probably more than $100, to be honest with you. All right. So the next one was the Antutu video tester. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. All right, and so as this is testing, I'm just going to kind of run down some things real quick. One of the things it's testing right now is 1080p. You can kind of see in the corner. I don't know if it's whatever, but it's going to go through different file formats, different codecs. Just test them all, make sure that it can play them, which it can. I've already done it, and it'll actually go up to 4K on the tests, just to make sure that it can play on it, and it'll just sit there and say, yeah, this is working fine. So we'll go ahead and just kind of fast forward through this really quickly so that we can kind of see the results of it. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but it says that it can do 3G 1080p AAC coding, ABC video coding. It does support it, and it's normal. It does AVI 1080p, MP3 AVC support, normal. Basically, pretty much anything you can throw at this thing, it can decode it. HEVC, that's also an important one. That means the H.265, which is HEVC. That's really important for the 4K video. It does AAC, AC3, DTS, FLAC, MP3, AVC, MPEG-4, you know, all that good stuff. It does it all. All the results, as you can see, are normal, and it does support all of them. So really great. This is not a real true test. This just kind of tests out to make sure that it can play it. I personally just do this test just to make sure, hey, you know, it can play all of them, which it does have the S905 in it, so of course it can. All right, so let's go ahead and go to another one, which is the disk speed test. Now, I've already run it. I'm not going to run it again. And it does 23 megabytes per second, and it writes 12 megabytes per second, which is actually pretty decent for these devices. It's a little bit faster than I've had on a couple of these. And you do get 4 gigabytes of space, which honestly, I mean, as long as you just have some things installed and downloaded just for playing videos, that's really all you need. Because you should be using, you know, external sources such as external hard drives, external USBs, things like that. So not too much worried about, you know, that it doesn't have a lot of space, to be honest with you. It is pretty speedy for, you know, starting up the OS and everything. So, all right, on to Epic Citadel. Now, I've already gone through this real quick. All right, so this is Epic Citadel, and it's just going to benchmark real quick, so you can kind of see that it can do gaming. I mean, it can. I mean, yeah, you can just kind of look and see that you're getting fairly decent frames per second over here. You know, and I would say this is like medium gaming right here. This is not like your high-end gaming, but I mean, this is pretty nice. I mean, it definitely gives you access to a fairly amount of good games that you can play if you really want to use this for a kind of you know, gaming machine, but that's not what it's built for. That's not what these things are for. These things are specifically for TV boxes, such as for playing 4K video, 1080p video. That's what they're mainly used for. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this run through real quick, and that way you can kind of see the frames per second on it. Okay. So now that the benchmark is done, we can see that the average frames per second was 44.2, resolution was 1920 by 1080. Not quite at the 4K level, but you know, still 1080 is pretty good. It is at the high quality performance level. Okay, so we've just basically established that it can play, you know, mediocre games, about medium level, fairly decent. Like I said, nothing probably at the really super high-end range, but it can definitely play video games. All right, so let's go ahead and get out of this. All right, I do have one more benchmark, and that is the Geekbench 4. So I'll go ahead and run this. And as you can see, all the details and everything right there, all the processing and everything, and it'll go ahead and run through this real quick. Okay, so as you can see, the single core score is 607 and the multi-core score is 1,553, which is pretty impressive for, you know, how much these TV boxes cost. And like I said, the main reason for these, the main purpose for them, is of course to play video, and these do that very well. So let's go ahead and let's go to YouTube. And just to kind of see some video playback for YouTube. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pulled up a video. It states it's 4K. It isn't, but it is a good test for kind of seeing how the video quality is. Right now it's still in standard definition, because if you go up here, they trick you. They're ninjas. They're like, oh yeah, it's totally in 4K. Totally. But if you go down here, look, quality. Finally hit 360. So let's go ahead and put it on 1080p, because that's really the highest YouTube can go to as far as like Android stuff right now. So let's go ahead and put it on 1080p. Let's reset the video and see if it can actually play 1080p video. Alright, so it is now playing 1080p video. It's actually really smooth. You can kind of see it fading in. You won't be able to see the actual whatever. I just know it's really smooth because I've already done this test before. Okay, so it's already 4K, totally lying to us because it's not really 4K, it's actually 1080p. Alright, and as you can see, it's really good. See how smooth it looks? So it's playing YouTube 1080p very well. So it can do that very well. So if you're wanting this to kind of sit on the couch or plug this into a TV and just kind of watch some YouTube on it, great device for that, because it is playing it really well. This is actually streaming over the wireless, so just remember that the wireless is not bad. All right, a lot of these devices, I did that, by the way, I accidentally bumped it. So a lot of the wireless for these devices are, how can I put it, they're really bad. Like TV boxes, for some odd reason, they just have really bad wireless. We're talking like 2 megs, 4 megs a second, just good enough to do something with, nothing. But when you're getting these devices and they're like 4K streaming, or we play 4K, it doesn't necessarily mean 4K streaming, because streaming takes up a lot of bandwidth over wireless, and rarely do these things are able to do that. So if you're wanting to do like 4K video, stuff like that, you're going to need to have a hard drive plugged into it through USB, or you're going to need a USB thumb drive plugged into it to play 4K. Otherwise, you're going to need a hard line, basically a hard Ethernet cord plugged into it. You can actually get, if you want to actually stream over the wireless, you can get power line. There's these power line adapters that plug into your AC outlet, and they transfer network cable over your already existing like AC outlets, and you can find those. It's a little bit more expensive than wireless, but hey, if you're wanting to play 4K and put it somewhere, it'll do it, and it's really nice. I highly recommend if you're wanting to stream 4K and you're wanting to do it in another room and you have like a home theater PC, then definitely get a power line adapter and transfer your network through the power line adapter for playing 4K. All right, so we did YouTube, and that was YouTube. Now on to the fun test. This is the test that I like. So we're going to go ahead and go to KODI. KODI is a great player. It actually comes from XBMC. All right, so it does come with some stuff where you can go to videos and go to video add-ons, and then it has all this stuff. And of course, these are all streaming. You know, this isn't basically from the company, just to let you know. This is actually from KODI. Users like me and you went in here and made these add-ons, and they actually allowed it to stream and everything. You know, they captured stuff from different websites and everything, and display them here. Are they legal? I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to let you decide if they're legal or not. Okay, so let's do some tests on this thing. All right, so we'll go to System, we'll go to File Manager, we'll go to my thumb drive, and we'll play some stuff. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna play a couple things, and you're gonna look at it and be like, what is going on with this thing? All right, so we're gonna go and play the Jellyfish 120 megabits per second, 4K ultra high definition H.264. This is an HVC. This is actually the standard test that you can find, and you can go to their website. It's really nice that they split it all up like this, and so you can do like different test files. Anyways, so here we go. 120 megabits per second, 4K ultra high definition H.264. And I'm going to go ahead and do OMI, and that way you can kind of see what's going on with it. All right, now you can see that you have no drop frames right here. That's no drop frames, so that's really good. You got frames per second over there, which is the PFR, which is frames 29.970. That's how many frames per second it's actually playing. So basically 30. All right, and you have your codec H.264 up there. Now the thing is that sometimes when you watch these things, it tends to stutter, and you're like, what is going on? Why is it stuttering? All right, here we go. And I'm going to get all into that. So 120 megabits per second. This is the HEVC. This is the new codec, the H.265/HEVC. It's the same thing. You can see that it's in 4K up there. It's playing 4K, and it is doing 30 frames per second. We have no frames dropped, but the thing is that if you go to my info, you can see that it is actually playing at 1080p, 60 hertz, and that's like, what is that? What? And this is the thing. This is the thing with not these devices, but just playing video files in general. You have to kind of know things. All right. One of the things that you do need to notice is hertz, the hertz rate. You hear that a lot, such as 60 hertz, 120 hertz, 30 hertz, you know, whatever. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you. So these boxes don't come default 4K. It's not necessarily this box. It's pretty much all boxes. But the good thing about this one is it actually has a setting that allows you to adjust everything in it. It allows you to adjust the resolution, and it allows you to adjust, more importantly almost, is the hertz rate for the files, because that will actually stop the jitteriness. That is why there's a lot of jittering. So let's go ahead and go to settings, and kind of show you how this is working. So let's go to display, and we'll go to screen resolution. We'll go over here and notice it's on auto, switch for better. And we don't want it on auto because it'll just always put it at 1080p 60 Hertz. So we're gonna put it on what our video is at. And that's what we need to be doing. Every time we go to KODI and play something or whatever, we need to make sure that we pick the correct format so it spits it out in the correct format, so you don't have like a jitteriness. And like I said, a lot of people don't even realize that that's what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on 30 Hertz, which is 4K 30 Hertz. TV automatically adjusted for it. Going back to the KODI player. Going back to the system, going back to file manager. Alright, and as you can see, this is Big Buck Bunny. We've had one frame drop this whole time, which isn't bad. You're going to get a couple here and there every once in a while, even if you know it's a really great computer. And you can see the motion's a lot smoother now. You can't even, there's no jerkiness. No jerkiness whatsoever. Very smooth. And you can notice that the hertz is matching the frame rate up top. Very smooth. Go ahead and go back to the jellyfish, which is at 30 frames per second. And you can kind of see that we're not dropping any frames. And our megabits per second is at about 100, which is really good. I mean, you're not gonna really be playing, you know, 4K at 100 megabits per second. I mean, that's just a really inefficient megabits per second, to be honest with you. But you know, you could do it. And this little machine can do it. Can definitely knock it out. Again, frame rate 29, so we got about 30 hertz, not dropping any frames on the HEVC. The other one was the H.264, and we're at 124, 108 megabits per second. So we're doing really good. I mean, it's a clear, great picture. It's smooth, and that's 4K it's putting out, and that's what you're wanting. So as long as it's putting out 4K, I mean, let's go ahead and do the 140. All right, so 140. It just hit 167, 0 drops. We have no drops in frames. So we just had 13 drops. But like I said, we're up to 140 megabits per second, and you're not really going to run into that many videos that are doing it that high. I mean, that's ridiculously high. That's very inefficient to have it that high. Usually they're going to be about this high. Let's see. All right, so 50, 60, that's about the average, I'd say. It's you know, it's okay. Like I said, you're going to get a couple dropping here and there, but you really can't tell. It's very smooth. And this is at 30 frames per second, so all right, this is at 50 megabits per second. Notice it says it's 23.96 frames per second, and it's kind of jerky, just a little jerkiness. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but it's a little jerky. But it's not because, like I said, of the TV box. It's because of the kilohertz, and you have to go change that. So let's go do that real quick so we can see a difference. And one of the settings that you do need to make sure that you go and check out, under video, acceleration, make sure your setting level is on expert down here. Go ahead and turn on the AMC codec. This was off, but I went ahead and turned that back on. Now, some TV boxes, because of the codec and how it varies, depending on which update and everything, some of them have it shut off, and it's actually good that they have it shut off. Some of them, though, actually benefit from them, and this is one of the systems that I've found that has been benefiting from having it turned on. But you might want to mess around with it. Now, if we go back and play the sample, you can see that there is no stutter. We have dropped one frame. You've skipped 4, but as you know, it's no longer dropping or skipping them. So, and it looks great. There's no stutter. It's barely using any CPU usage, really. Look at that. It's just spitting out the 4K, and you can see up there that it's at 3840 by 1606, which is basically 4K. And we are doing the HEVC, which is H.265, and you can see that right there. And the megabytes per second is about 35, so it's pretty good in the video games. All right, so let's go ahead and check out another one. Let me go ahead and turn it down. All right, so HEVC, of course, frame rate's 23, H.265 megabits per second is 44, 55, about 50. Drop 2, skip 4, but that was in the beginning, so it's not really that big of a deal. You can see it's really clear. There's no dropping, there's no stalling. It's just a clear picture all the way through. And you can even see it skipped one more, skipped another one, but you really can't tell. I mean, it's pretty fluid. It's very fluid, very nice. So that's really good. And you can see the CPU usage is really low. You can see that we're still at 46. And remember, you know, this is 46 is pretty standard as far as like how much bit rate you want. You kind of want to stick around this for good quality. All right, let's go ahead and try out some more. Let's do the jellyfish at 140 at H.264. This is the H.264. This is the more of the mainstream one, and you can see that it's not really dropping any, but it is skipping a lot but you have to remember this is 140 megabits per second, and you can see some stuttering and everything, even though the CPU usage isn't being fully utilized. Alright, so let's go ahead and go back to HEVC at 140 megabits per second, and we can see that it's smooth. It's really smooth. We're getting no drops. So of course this is the new codec, HEVC H.265. So it's called either one, HEVC or H.265, it's the same thing. But it's really nice. It's a great codec. It is skipping some frames, but you really can't even tell at all, really. All right, so next one. This one's a little bit less. I'd say it's about a 20 megabits per second. It's saying like 12, but you got 25 frames per second. It is HEVC, very smooth. And this is this is probably about the standard that you're going to want to get for 4K, because it keeps the file size small, but it still puts out a great picture, and keeps your CPU usage low, because you have to remember, the more megabits per second that you're actually doing, the higher the processor is going to have to run to render this, and it's going to be a lot harder for it to render it. So it looks great. I mean, even at only 1520, I mean, it looks really good. It looks really clear. Motion is really fluid. So, and the last one is the 60 frames per second. This one's actually going at 60 frames per second. Megabits per is about 25. So even at this, HEVC is still being able to keep up. It's only skipping a frame every once in a while, but this is putting out at 60 frames per second. So it looks really good. The motion in it is just amazing, just really fluid. We are utilizing more CPU usage, you can see, but it's just really fluid, really amazing. All right. And the last one is, of course, Big Buck Bunny. Great testing one. This, see, it's doing about 8 to 20 apparently megabits per second. You have H.264. This is H.264, which is the old codec, but everybody still utilizes it, and it's really displaying it well. And this is about the standard for 4K at H.264, the megabits per second and everything. And it's not even dropping. That's 4K right there. It's smooth, looks great, picture looks good. CPU usage, little high, but you know, it's still eating it up. Frames per second is 30. So we're good. You know, this machine is amazing for doing 4K video. It can do it very well. 1080p's nothing to it. It can eat that up. 720p doesn't even know any bounds for 720p. Standard definition, of course, blah. But yeah, so anything lower than 4K, it's gonna eat it up and chew it out. This is great. All right, moving on. The one thing that really sets this particular box, as far as price point from others, is the fact that it has Bluetooth in it. A lot of the other boxes do not have Bluetooth. This one does, which means you can hook up a Bluetooth controller, and it's amazing. So I really like that. As far as heat goes, doesn't get that hot. It does get warm, but not hot. You know, I could set something on it and I wouldn't be afraid that it's going to catch fire or anything. You know, I could put my hand on it all day long and it's not going to, you know, even remotely make me feel like I need to take it away. It does get warm though, you know. TV gets about the same warmth as the box. So there you go. It's a great little box. I haven't found anything really wrong with it. I mean, it's knocked out everything. You are going to have to tweak some settings and stuff, but the hardware is there. The hardware is there for it to really spit out the 4K video, which is what you're wanting. I've tried Plex through it. Plex is nice. So YouTube's nice. Netflix is nice. I've done a little bit HD Netflix, and it worked really well. So yeah, it's a great box for what it is, and I really can't believe how cheap they are. And as always, I hope you enjoyed my meticulous review and the fact that I gave you too much information.